Hey, it's your ethnic fairy godmother here just to let you know something that you didn't learn in school. At least not if you were in school in the US or a public school.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Dime cómo están. Yo sí soy de aquí y soy de allá. Una horchata y dos de lengua.
Hey y'all, it's your Taylor. Welcome back to my channel. Hope you like the femme look. I don't know why I just want to do like all pink, all purple with my red hair, but I hope you guys like it. I just want to say thank you so much for subscribing. I don't know how many subscribers I have right now. You know I can't count, but I just want to say summary thank you so much for subscribing. And if you're new here, hi, I'm Dom. I make new videos every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, and then other days if I feel like if I want to talk about more stuff. Like this is a Wednesday video, so yay! Just go ahead and make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, subscribe, and leave me a comment below if you didn't know about this either, because I was I was really surprised. Okay, I'm gonna begin now because I'm rambling. Okay, so it started off when I was watching for Latinx Heritage Month, because of course it's still going on. I was watching the movie Walkout, and this scene happened, and I was like, wait a second. Why did I not notice this before?
I don't know. A whole mess of people got killed.
Come on, scratch a little deeper, Bobby. Who fought there?
Americans.
Americans. How about your ancestors?
Mexicanos.
Yeah, Yoli, help them out. Read the part on the Chicano regiments.
Chicanos?
Or Mexican Americans. It was before we moved to East LA and became vatos locos. Oh. Yeah. Any luck, Yoli? Read a part about Mariano Vallejo and his meeting with Abraham Lincoln. That's it. Paula, help her out. Read the part of 9,000 Mexican Americans who fought in the American Civil War.
Mr. Castro doesn't say anything about Mexican Americans.
Let me see. See, that's funny. We were there.
What side do we fight on?
Both.
Ooh, and we still lost?
Yeah, we still lost. You know what we lost? We lost our legacy. Why? Because we're not in this book. See, if people don't know about it, then it never happened.
Mexican Americans fought in the Civil War, like the US Civil War. So I was like, I gotta explore this, because I was so dumbfounded. I was like, why, one, they not teach us in school, and two, it's like also, I'm like, why you don't make this connection? Because you learn in school about the Mexican-American War. So basically, if you want to know about the formation of Mexico or more about American history, I have done videos about Mexican Independence Day and the history of Mexico, and then also about Juneteenth, about formation of America as well. More so from the Black perspective on that one. But like, if you want to know more about these information, if you don't know much about U.S. history, I'll link those down below so you can check it out and so you can understand a little bit more. But yeah, so we do know that the two, so basically I'm gonna go just speed up in time past the formation of these countries, but like 1846, we have two new republics on the North American continent. We have Mexico, which is formerly from Spain, and the US is formerly of Great Britain. So honestly, what happens, the Mexican-American War starts in 1846 with the US and Mexico fighting over the annexation of Texas, which Texas had declared independence from Mexico 10 years earlier in 1836. So for about 2 years, they're fighting over who gets Texas. But ultimately, the U.S. wins the Mexican-American War, and it ends on February 2nd, 1848, with the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. So in which this treaty, so they get Texas. Well, I think we already won. I think it was a virtue of the war. I think we won Texas, but then also the U.S. gets a huge chunk of Mexico, including what is now Arizona, Colorado, Nevada, New Mexico, California, a lot of the West Coast. It's New Mexico, but now it's part of the United States. So that's part of why 48 and on, you have a lot of Mexican Americans living in U.S. lands. So I was like, why didn't I make this connection in my mind before? Like, oh yeah, they could have been part of it too. But like, it just always, especially when we were younger, we just always put everything in terms of just like black and white. But like, no, like you have people who were somewhat in between too. And of course that begs the question, like he said in the video, who did we fight for? Well, we fought on both sides. Most people know the U.S., but I mean, in case we didn't know, because I mean, I do have a national audience here. Love y'all. You guys have great countries. Our country's going crazy because we have a crazy evil Jew president. But anyways, so the U.S. Civil War took place from 1861 to 1865. And what the main conflict of the war was about the expansion of slavery of the African peoples that they had stolen from Africa. So it's interesting. It was kind of a lot of people fought for which side based on where they lived. So because technically Texas was a part of the Confederacy and was technically like a slave state, I believe. Yeah, there were slaves there. That's why they were there. Yeah, anyways. So a lot of Mexican Americans in Texas, Tejanos, fought in the Confederate side of the war, which is interesting. This is what you need to like think about your actions, because like no one wants to remember you if you were the one that like, because this man, he was like probably one of like the highest ranking Mexican in the Confederacy, and he actually was also paid too, because they're actually, so like everything's not quite black and white, I guess I want to say first off. So it was estimated about around 2,500 Mexican Americans fought on the Confederacy side for the Civil War, okay? And so, but not necessarily all of them were with slavery with like the Confederacy. So there were a lot of Tejanos that actually helped the African Americans escape to Mexico, and a lot of them were part of the underworld that helped them escape. But also this man I'm looking at, hold on, let me see if I can encontrar su nombre. Why am I like having chills? Like this is, I don't know, I'm still getting chills. Like I know this is like my second time reading this, but like, whoo. So like it's awesome. See, there was some evidence that there was a mini underground railroad to the large full of Tejanos, mostly poor Tejanos, that would help runaway slaves get into Mexico. We know there are hundreds of runaway slaves. Yeah. Gonel Santos Benavides, who he became the highest ranking Tejano officer in the Confederate Army, but he actually too was paid to capture runaway slaves. Can we say traitor or not? But yeah, see, like no one talks about him because like, oof, why, you know? Yeah, it seems like one thing I've also like, so reasons to join the Confederacy were more so like, you know, like they lived in the Confederate States, they had to be part of the shits. Then also too, like a lot of people that were in the Confederacy, like I believe were richer. And like also like there are some Mexicans too that own their own states, so they were like, yeah, we want the right to keep slaves. I'm just like, no te gusta. But actually, you know, the desertion rate was high for Mexican American Civil War soldiers because they experienced prejudice from white on both sides, which I'm just like, why would you do that? But you know, of course, I don't understand most things American people do. But you know, that's kind of hurting to be like, they were fighting to keep us enslaved, but also there was way more people actually on the Union side fighting from Mexico. So actually you had 10,000 approximately Mexican American. Ooh, okay, you had about 10,000 Mexican American, not Tejano, I guess a couple of, a few Tejanos that went to the Union as well. Mostly Chicanos, Latin Americans that were in U.S. lands, mostly New Mexico and California that were part of the Union, and they did really fight against, you know, the Confederacy for one part of morality. Some people did actually believe that slavery was wrong, which I'm like, I appreciate you, and also too, I think there's just like a lot of tension just because of being like annexed by this European power and like not being told what to do with their lives. I think that's a lot of it what it was too. Because Mexico only banned slavery about 1829. So yeah, like they're understanding achieving is when they say they're returning their masters, produce compensated. Yeah, like dude, that's crazy. Yeah, so even like there was one Tejano captain who, Adrian J. Vidal, who joined the Confederacy, deserted for the Union, then deserted again to fight against the French imperialist Mexico, who supported the Confederacy. I mean, at least he's somewhat consistent. And there are other reasons they want to join the Union. Let's see, the White Republic of Texas had invaded New Mexico, then still part of Mexico to seize more land, so there's like a resentment in Mexico of Texans. The vast majority of Mexican Americans in Mexico who entered the war fought for the Union, promised a bounty of up to $300 per soldiers. And yeah, it's saying that it really interesting. So in contrast, the Civil War deeply divided the Mexican Americans of Texas. Frequently did so out of fear of being. So a lot of people did join the militia in Texas because they were afraid of being sent out of state and away from their families. Some are able to avoid conscription because. And some people were also. Oh, that's interesting. Some people were able to avoid conscription by claiming the experience of Mexico. Brilliant. I'm like, that's probably the route I would have taken. Like, fuck war. So I can't believe I'm there. Of course, there's other ways you can support the war effort, whichever side you agree with, other than fighting. So in Texas, also another reason is like some Tejanos who resented white Texans taking away their land may have joined the Union in retaliation. Yeah. People who joined the Confederacy, they ended up fighting in places like Virginia and Pennsylvania, like at Gettysburg, like he said. But people who fought for the Union were to help secure victories in the Southwest. In March 1862, Lieutenant Colonel Manuel Chavez led Union troops in an attack on a Confederate supply at the Battle of Glorieta Pass. The Union victory helped push the Confederacy out of New Mexico for good, later earning Glorieta a nickname, the Gettysburg of the West. Today, the battlefield is part of a Pecos National Historical Park and a marker of Mexican Americans' contribution to the U.S. military. Wow, it's just so cool. Like, there's just so much information that, like, so that is interesting. So I remember going to college, and one of my best friends is a Thai American, and she was asking, like, well, what, like, during the civil rights movement, like, what were we doing? Like, what were Asian people doing? What were Latino people doing? I'm like, it's a good question. We talk about that a lot. But I think a lot of them were on, like, I think minorities got together. Like, we're more on the same side. We have more of the same common interests, personally, is what I'm gonna say. But man, I just, at the same time, like, kind of doing all this, I'm like, I'm still getting, I get goosebumps every time. Like, some of those benavides, like, you're trash. But, you know, everyone else is cool. And I know, it's weird, like, maybe I'm just kind of, like, corny or whatever. But I do love that there were so many Mexican American, like, so, like, you had 2,500 on the Confederacy, and then you had, like, 10,000 on the Union side. So it's, like, it's kind of nice to think that, like, some people were doing it for the morality of it all, and they did actually care about, like, their other mankind, even though they didn't really know us, and we weren't really, like, close like that. I don't know, something about that warms my heart that, like, people really do care about us, like, because I feel like a lot of history you talk about, like, all the anti-blackness, and you're just like, well, damn, like, they just want to enslave us, and they just were like, because even, like, even with the formation of slavery in the U.S., because actually, of course, like we talked about in the Juneteenth video, the Portuguese were the first to use slaves, but when they, you know, when the conquistadores got to the New World, and Christopher Columbus was, like, basically doing genocide of people in the Caribbean, and they were, you know, killing off lots of native people. Colombo de las Casas, the piece of shit, he, you know, went back to the Spanish crown. He's like, oh my gosh, like, they're being so uncivil to the native people here. Why don't we try to baptize them and convert them, which obviously happens. Catholicismo is, like, huge, still huge in Latin America. Okay, but he said, hey, we should bring in Africans because they're gente sin razón, people without reason. So again, like talk about racism in the New World or in the Western Hemisphere, it really has just been deep planted from the beginning, you know? So it's kind of, I don't know, at least as a Black African American, I feel like kind of like, oh, that's so nice. Thanks, guys. But yeah, was there anything that surprised you that you found out today in this video? And like, are you like surprised with your brain? Like, you're like, brain, why you want to make connection? Why you make connection? Because I mean, you think about history, you think back, it's like, it makes sense. It makes sense. But I think this again, like, our history very tends to be very much Eurocentric still, in a sense, like mostly contributions of white people, and especially with Guadalupe Hidalgo, there was like a lot more focus on like the winning and how much land the U.S. got, but like didn't really care about who people of that lands were, you know. So interesting. Yeah, if you like this video and you want me to do more like this, just go ahead and like leave a comment down below. Give me a like. Also, I do have an email that you can send stuff to if you want me to explore more topics or react to something. You send me anything you want to at my email, yahoo.com. But yeah, until I hopefully can find some more cool stuff that we didn't know in history. At least I'm in the US. So I'm in the US. So if you're almost in your country, I want to comment down below so I can know, I can show people how much better other schools are in the world than ours, okay? Because we don't bring the high end education. Only I'm talking to you guys about, I'd research myself. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't, like, at least not in grade school. Like, I learned about, like, Bartolomé de las Casas in college. So when I was getting my degree, I learned that for, like, my Spanish degree. So I know Spanish. But yeah, so if you find anything else that you want me to explore, go ahead and leave a comment below or go ahead and email me. Make sure you like this and share with your friends because you were all surprised. I was surprised. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. You have a great day. Bye.